The ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula is briefing the media on the state of the readiness of the party's 112th anniversary in Mpumalanga. Let's listen in.
And what is our overall assessment of the political socio-economic situation in the country, and what is likely to inform our approach and our forward momentum in relation to the new year. So that's what is going to happen, and our National Executive Committee have started. We will be having the most important event on the 13th of January here in this venue of the celebrations of the ANC. And on Monday, we'll have a cake cutting to celebrate January 8th birthday of the ANC, which will happen on Monday. Thank you very much. The African National Congress is holding a meeting of its National Executive Committee in Mpumalanga. With its rich history of liberation struggle, Mpumalanga is the perfect host for this year's January 8 statement of the ANC. The province has been home to many of South Africa's most prominent liberation struggle heroes, each with their own inspiring story of courage and resilience. From Bethal to Dagaskraal, Emelo to Secunda, Saltsville, Mkizeville to Volksrust. These places remind us of the sacrifices made by those who fought for the freedom and equality of South Africans. Their legacy lives on, inspiring us to continue the fight for justice and equality for all. Bethal, Mzinoni, many of South Africa's prominent liberation struggle heroes such as Richard Gertin Sibande, Noctula Smelani, Ruth First, and Henry Mr. Dram Ngumalo have a history with Bethal. In Dagaskraal, Oxford-educated Dr. Pixley Sakakaiseme, who founded the African National Congress forerunner, calls the modest settlement of Dagaskraal, which overlooks the vast landscapes of the highlands of his homeland. Dr. Pixley Sakakaiseme, the founding father of the African National Congress, lived in the small Highveld settlement of Dagaskraal, not far from Amersfoort. Historically, Emelo served as a critical juncture in the struggle for South Africa's liberation, acting as a pivotal stopover for the ANC's Umkhonto weSizwe members traveling to Swaziland and Mozambique. The region, which experienced forced removals in the 1960s, also boasts many cultural and natural attractions. Secunda. While Secunda is typically associated with industrial and commercial sectors, it also has a rich liberation history. It was home to some of the country's most daring freedom fighters. Vincent Sikiti, also known as Sydney Sibepu, and Victor Kayani, also known as Bongani Mtetwa, were key Umkhonto weSizwe Special Operations Unit members in a major operation in 1982. They executed the bombing of the strategic Sasol petrochemical plants, leading to their recognition at the Sasol 3. Sols, Mkizeville, Driefontein, nestled amidst pine forests and recognized as one of South Africa's dams, also holds significance in the nation's fight for freedom. Vusimuzi Sol Mkize, chairman of the Driefontein Community Board, firmly opposed the forced relocation of African landowners after a peaceful protest gathering escalated into conflict with the police Mkhize was fatally wounded. His legacy is commemorated by a statue erected in his honor in 2008. Volksrast. The story of Volksrast is intertwined with the efforts of human rights activist Mahatma Gandhi and his wife, Kastuba. Arrested repeatedly for their protest marches against discriminatory laws, their efforts ultimately led to improved living conditions for the Indian community. National Executive Committee meeting scheduled for 5 to 7 January. The NEC meeting is set to take place as it has started, and I've already alluded to that. The NEC will focus on a number of issues that I've already explained. The NEC, when it rises on Sunday, will focus on the build-up programs. As previously mentioned, the January 8th rally commemorating the 112th anniversary of the ANC will take place at Mbombela Stadium within Mpumalanga province on Saturday, 13th January 2024. We are commencing the week with a wreath-laying ceremony at the burial sites of our departed Liberation Movement pioneers on Monday. This will be followed by a commemorative breakfast with their respective families. The 112th ANC anniversary will be celebrated with a cake-cutting ceremony, the time for which will be disclosed in due course. Interactions with a variety of stakeholders will follow this. Tuesday's program will include the revolutionary pilgrimage, catering to interactions with the traditional leadership here in Mpumalanga. Wednesday will be schedule includes a session which will focus on poverty alleviation programs and fighting crime. On Thursday, it will focus on interaction with young people who have been supported through government programs, but also telling their own story and their own challenges and interacting in a conversation with the leadership of the ANC. This will happen from all four corners of this province, from east to south, north, south to north, and east to west. We will interact with all beneficiaries in our democracy in terms of government programs that are aimed at addressing the question of skill shortage and upskilling, particularly those who may characterize as the disengaged, but also who are beneficiaries in terms of scarce skills, who have not had an opportunity to have these skills except being supported by the ANC government. We will also have marches of reclaiming the night, because we believe that the fight against crime, it's a partnership between communities and government. And of course, the police are an integral part of that particular work. And that will actually happen as well on Wednesday. So a partnership between communities and the civil society in the fight against crime is important. Creation of street committees in the fight against crime are important. Working together with the police and further boots on the ground that have been released by the Department of Police, that is to be welcomed, but we need to nudge and ensure that we entrench this partnership in the fight against crime. But equally, those cases where you find GBV cases, we will as well be strengthening those families who are affected by GBV, who their cases are before the law, and at the same time strengthening their hand and supporting them in this fight and calling for conviction on those who have perpetrated acts of violence. But at the same time, what is the role of the state and government in relation to the victims? How are they being attended to when they go to police stations and all of that. But equally, conscientizing the rest of society and mobilizing that the fight against GBV is for us all. It has got no color, it's got no riches. It is a societal struggle, but equally, it is about me and you, and at the same time, to deal with the phenomenon that is eating the moral fiber of our society, which is called gender-based violence. And this is what we need to deal with in our efforts of mobilizing of society. And then on Friday, then we will have the dinner, in which the president will deliver the preview at 8 o'clock sharp in the dinner, which is a fundraising dinner, but the president will deliver a preview statement in which he gives a sense of what the January 8 statement of the ANC will look like. We will crisscross the province in terms of deployment. Media will equally be informed about the program that is going to unfold post the National Executive Committee in terms of this work. We are focusing on fighting against crime, poverty alleviation interventions, and at the same time, emancipation of our people through programs, either support for schooling, but at the same time, intervention programs in terms of upskilling our people, addressing the challenges that are faced by the disengaged youth in our society. But at the same time, we will talk to our membership through cadre forums throughout the length and breadth of the province, talk politics of the ANC. Where are we as an organization as we celebrate this January 8? What are the challenges that lie ahead? What is expected of us in the major program we are executing of renewal of the African National Congress? So we have arrived in Mpumalanga to kickstart the process of the celebration of the ANC 112 years of the African National Congress. Thank you very much.
All right, ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula, flanked by ANC spokesperson Mahlangu Bengu Mutsiri, just speaking about the state of preparation for the 112th anniversary in Mpumalanga, saying Mpumalanga was chosen because of the rich history of struggle there. Speaking about a cake-cutting ceremony that's going to take place on Monday, the 8th of January, at a venue still to be announced. And then the ANC president is going to be addressing a fundraising dinner where he'll give a preview to the January 8th statement, which is going to take place on the 13th of January to commemorate that anniversary. Of course, SABC News will bring you that and other political news.